Alright, Shalom. This is YAHAWAH with the Gym and Styles Camp. First off, I want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the Apostle and Elders of GMS, of Great Millstone, for teaching real well. And salutations to the Akim scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, keeping his word in truth and sincerity. Alright, now I want to do a quick video going into a dream I had a few nights ago. You know, that it was I guess what you would call a reoccurring dream. All right, because when I had woken up the first time, you know, I was with my, with my woman, my wife, and she had, I guess I woke her up when I woke up, and I told her about the dream, and then after I told her, I went back to sleep, and it was like the dream had, it continued on, I guess, from where it left off, but I'm gonna say the dream, and then I'm gonna get a couple scriptures, and then I'm gonna close out on that. But yeah, so pretty much the dream was about everybody. For example, everybody goes to work. Everybody wakes up, does the same thing they do every day. And that's pretty much it, man. That's all that life is now. Wake up, go to work, eat, and then go to sleep. And then you got your in-between time, which is whatever you might do. You know what I'm saying? To take care of errands, or on the weekends go out, eat, and then that's it. And anyways, my dream, it was it was as it was, like it is every day. All right, but for some reason it was snowing, and then I believe my car, I forget what it was. Everybody's car stopped working, or everybody just got out of their car and decided they didn't need them anymore, or something to that effect. I can't remember every detail, but after that, the next part of the dream. Well, before that, people, after they got off their cars, they all just were walking around, aimlessly for some reason, and me as well. Now, in the next part of the dream, I remember everybody was at work, and then all of a sudden, everybody just stopped. They just stopped working. I don't know why, but it was like everybody was on one accord, knowing that the time to work was at an end. Like there wasn't, that time was, the time for that had come to an end. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like everybody just got up and walked out, and we're outside. Everybody was looking at each other like what do we do now? What's going on? And then planes were falling out the sky. People were walking around trying to find shelter where they were gonna sleep at. It was me and my wife. We were walking around, and we stayed in a house, and it was at nighttime. It was pitch darkness, just dark. Like no electricity the electricity wasn't working. There was no way to no way to illuminate, or so at nighttime we would shut ourselves up, because of anything could happen at that time. You know what I'm saying? Because it was that time to stop working, and it was that time for pretty much everything to be at an end of that cycle. All right, and what I mean by cycle, I mean like an era, end of that era, that era of living comfortably, getting up, going to work, driving in your car, going to the store to get to buy groceries, and sitting down, eating food, going to the bar, going to the movies, just having a normal, peaceful life. Like all that had ended in that dream, and now it wasn't like I was afraid or we were afraid, but we were uneasy You know what I'm saying? Like we had an uneasy feeling, and in my dream, I kept thinking about those all the things that we had done in our lifetime, and I knew that was like those things weren't gonna happen again. You know, like us going out to eat or sitting down watching a movie at the house or whatever. Like those days had come to an end. You know, and I reflected on that in that in my dream, and I woke up. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I had woken up already once already throughout the dream, and so that was the second time that I woke that I or that was the yeah, that was the first time I woke up. And after that, it was pretty much the same thing continuing on when I went back to sleep. You know, but when I woke up, I felt uneasy. You know, I felt like what I had just woken up from was real. So when I woke up, I was like, damn, I thought I was waking up to another. I thought I was waking up to that situation in my dream, but I realized that it was just a dream. But I mean, of course, that to me that it wasn't just a dream. It was like, oh, you know, the Most High showed me something. You know, showing me, you know, like a vision or something. You know, because the scriptures do say that He writes that the Most High shows us things through our dreams. You know what I'm saying? So I know it was symbolic to the times that are coming. You know, and that reminds me of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, which I'm about to read. All right. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." You know, and that's right, man. We got to remember our Creator in these days, man. In these days of our youth. You know, because the evil days haven't come yet. You know, that time of Jacob's trouble hasn't hit. You know, that famine and that economical collapse. You know, and the destruction of this society and this infrastructure hasn't happened yet. So we all living comfortably right now. We all living in our houses, all warm. You know, doing whatever we want to do. You know. So you know, those evil days haven't come yet. You know what I'm saying? This is verse 2. It says, "While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain." Right? And, you know, that's right. You know, when the stars be not darkened. You know, because the scriptures say that the day of the Most High is a day of darkness and not light. You know, it's going to be a terrible day. You know, it's going to be a horrible day for everybody. You know, it's, you know, for the elect, you know, they're going to be shielded from that. According to the scriptures, you know, they're going to be protected in those days because of their faith. All right, verse 3, it says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened." You know, that's the point I wanted to get to. You know, that grinders cease because they are few. That means that work. You know, that all them people going to work, them jobs, and that's that grinding ceasing in those days, man. It's gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? So like I had to pause and my dogs were acting up. But anyways, let's see, like I was saying, you know, it was that time for that grinding to end. And it was that time of darkness to begin. You know, and I felt it and I understood it in my dream. And when I woke up, I understood that was what that was the interpretation of that dream. All right. Let's see. And verse 4, "And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low." You know, all of that's going to end, man. All of that, the grinding and the daughters of music shall be brought low. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, all the celebrating, all the happiness out there, all the music, you know what I'm saying? Going out to the club, you know what I'm saying? Having a good time, going to the bar, eating, going to the movies, You know what I'm saying? All that's going to come to an end. And people are going to know and understand that when it happens. You know, that way of life, this way of life that we live right now is going to come to a complete end. You know, people are going to have to be out there surviving, looking for food. They're going to be killing each other, going crazy, killing themselves. All right? Verse 5. And also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and the desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. Alright? You know, people won't be dying, man. There's a scripture that I want to get. Let's see, it's Jeremiah chapter 30. Okay, I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, or fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child? Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? You know, like why do I see a man, you know, see a man crying out like a woman giving birth, you know, and like a woman in travail, and with a face of paleness, you know, meaning showing a face of fear, you know, like, you know, ask ye now, like the scripture says. It says, verse 7, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Yeah, man, that day, in my dream that day, it was the day of the beginning of Jacob's trouble, you know. That's why he said, Ask ye now, and see whether doth a man travail with child? Like, do you see that a man is in pain, or not pain, but like crying out like if he were giving birth to a child, you know, signifying that there's going to be men out there that are going to be afraid and crying out like women, you know, like little girls, for the fear of that time, you know, for those things that they seeing, man, because they're going to see people dying right in front of them. You know, they're going to see their families getting killed and raped and all kinds of things, man, in those times. You know, it's going to be a very, very troubling time. You know, something that the history of the world has never seen. All right? See verse 8. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts. Oh, and when it says, but he shall be saved out of it, that's talking about the elect. You know? All right, verse 8. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves for him. But they shall serve the Lord their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. You know, that's why we out here in the highways and byways, man. You know, we out here prophesying and it's a lot here. It's a lot. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah. You know, we out there prophesying in the highways and byways, and you know, like the scriptures say that we need to be, man. You know, in Proverbs, the first chapter. You know, and the priest don't cry without. You know what I'm saying? In the streets. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah 58. You know, we out there building that spiritual temple. You know, calling out for the elect. You know, that's why we say we're not out here to save, everybody. We're not out here to save all the nation of Israel, because 2/3 of them are going to die, and that's according to the scriptures. So it's impossible. It's impossible to try and save everybody, man. That's why we only out here looking for men that are willing to listen and humble themselves and turn their ways turn from their wicked ways and follow the ways of YAHAWASHI, man. Following the law, statutes, commandments to the best of their abilities. Putting off the old man, giving up those things that made you so comfortable in this world. You know what I'm saying? Which is a thing that I'm still working on, and many other brothers still work on today. Because nobody's perfect. There's a lot of things that still need to be purged out. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're new to this thing. Some brothers, it takes them a while to really get rid of those worldly customs that they used to do. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's important for you to understand that if you in this thing, there's a reason for it. You know what I'm saying? Most sides trying to get to you, use you to be a part of this thing. And through you trying your best to serve YAHAWASHI, you have a chance to be saved out of that trouble. That's why it said right there in verse 8. Oh no, verse 7. Alas, for the day is great so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, man. That elect man, that man that stood firm for this truth. So, man, I just wanted to share that dream. Lord willing, brothers understood how I described it. And with that, I'm gonna say shalom.